Welcome back to the Elle-Sera podcast. And today I'm joined by Grace from Studio 10. Studio 10 is a makeup brand which is specifically designed for mature skin. So we're going to get right into exactly what that is and why the formulations are so amazing for the older, mature lady. Hi, Grace.
Hi, so excited to be here.
I know. Thanks so much for joining us. So what inspired you to start Studio 10?
Do you know what? I woke up in my late 40s and said to myself, I don't use the same skincare as I did in my 20s. So why do I use the same makeup? And I just thought, actually, I want makeup that's really designed, formulated for mature skin because it sits on the skin and our skin needs are different. So that was the journey. And the other thing I wanted to do is just curate it. It was too overwhelming. Go into a department store and there's thousands of products and textures and finish and colors. And it's like, I just want a lipstick. They're like, madam, we've got 25 different textures. I'm like, yeah, but I just want a lipstick. And then finally you choose one that's nourishing. It's not too matte. And then they go, what color would you like? It's like, I don't know. I just want a really nice lipstick.
No, I get it. It's overwhelming. And then you become like paralyzed by choice because there's too much choice. And then, okay, so what makes like mature makeup different? So you said it sits on the skin differently.
Yeah. So the first part is ingredients, right? And that's a big part. Saying that though, a lot of makeup now is beginning to have skincare ingredients. So we say skincare powered ingredients. We use hyaluronic acid, which hydrates the skin. Our new SPF's got hydropeptide 2, so really active ingredients. But that's almost the easy part. Where I really focus on is the texture, because the texture on aging skin, if you've got fine lines, you've got enlarged pores, the wrong texture will exacerbate those lines. So texture is really important. Colors, undertone, finish. So as an example, I don't have a lot of product. In fact, a lot of powder in my products because powder looks quite mattifying on the skin, can make the skin look quite flat. And our skin's much more naturally lackluster. So I use a lot of liquids, a lot of dewy finishes, put pearl radiance to lift, to boost the skin. So for me, it's ingredients, it's texture, it's finish, it's undertones. And then just really quick and easy because I've never found a woman who has time to do her makeup.
No, you're not wrong. And it's, I mean, I used to have the luxury of time to do my makeup and the time that I wanted because I had like virtually nothing to do. And I'd sit there and it was like a lovely routine that I love to do. And now it's like, I've got a slap Bluey on, put Grace in front of it, and I might get 5 minutes without her coming off the bed, coming over and wanting to dig her fingers in all my makeup because she wants to see what I'm doing. So I totally get it. I've stopped blow drying my hair. Like I'm just letting it just go. I get it. So you're absolutely right. So talk to me about your hero products and why, they are so quick and easy to apply.
Yeah. So I've sort of got four key steps because that's the other thing. It's like, women, we have so much makeup. We don't need all of it. We need 1 or 2, 3, maybe 4 core essentials. So in terms of mature skin, priming the skin is really important because, as I said, you've got fine lines, you might have enlarged pores, makeup falls off. I use a lot of creams and liquids, which are beautiful on mature skin, but they're not as long lasting. If you use a powder, you put a powder on top of, a foundation, that powder sits there. It almost clogs the skin. It doesn't look natural. So primer is really important just to even out the texture of the skin. The main area for me where we really focus on is complexion and coverage. So just, dark circles, age spots, pigmentation, redness, flushing. You want to even out the texture of the skin and you want to even out the skin tone. So I have so many women say, I can't leave the house without mascara. I've got, I have to wear my mascara. And I'm like, if you're going to use one product, use concealer or a light foundation because, if you wear mascara, your eyes open up, you've got beautiful lashes. If you've got dark circles, and we get darker circles as we age because the skin thins out, or you've got redness here or redness on your eyelids, you look tired. That's what people see. So for me, that real beautiful, dewy, healthy skin. So even the texture, even the skin tone. And then the next part of that is we need that healthy flush of colour because obviously we lose pigment as well. You know, you see teenage girls, they've got that beautiful rosy flush to their cheeks and we don't have any of that.
Great.
So we need to put it back.
Okay. So we prime. So skincare is skincare. Then we go into like when this is makeup routine now. Primer.
So prime, perfect, which is this cover up job to even the skin tone. Shade for me is add colour, that healthy flush of colour. So it could be a bronze.
Yeah.
Or we've got, so bronze for me is adding a tan. So tanning up the skin. So our bronzer doesn't have any light reflecting pearl. It's more of a sort of demi matte because you're faking a tan. But our plumping blush glow plexion is a real complexion booster, and you can put it on top of a tan or a fake tan. And that's peach. Peach is the best colour for mature skin because it's got orange undertone, and it's the orange in bronzers that warm up the skin because we need to warm up the skin. But then also it's got pink, and pink brightens and lifts. So that on the cheeks, a little bit of the forehead, down the nose, through the eyelids, transforms. It's like 8 hours sleep in a bottle. Transforms the complexion.
To it. It's one of my favourite products of yours. And actually you only need one pump and it goes so far, and it's really highly pigmented. I mean, I remember you giving me some years ago and I've still got it.
I know.
In my drawer, like it's still going.
It's so funny you say that because I kind of sort of feel like the beauty industry has a lot to answer for in lots of different ways. And we'll talk about pro-age versus anti-age. But they're very good at creating loads of products and selling loads of products that we don't need. And one of the sort of challenges with Studio 10 is my products are so pigmented. They last so long. So from a customer consumer perspective, it's great, you know, and that was really important to me. And all my products are multi-purpose, multifunction. You know, why have one product when you can have 5 different uses? But from a commercial business perspective, it wasn't the best idea to do.
No, I know, but from a customer satisfaction point of view, you know, and getting those amazing reviews for your products, then it's amazing.
Yeah. And that's the most important thing to me.
Yeah, 100%. The other products I love of yours, and you've got a couple that I think are really great and innovative, really. And I think they really explain. I remember speaking to this with my boyfriend's mum and she was like, oh, right, yeah. So it was the lip liner, which comes with like a lighter colour on it. Yeah. So you line the lip in that on the outside of the lip. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then it enhances that lip line. It gives it like that crisp edge where it makes it look like 3 times bigger. Yeah. Then you apply the line
that's the
and
other
the colour.
part because I've got prime, perfect, shade, which is adding this healthy flush and colour. And then the last one is shape. So, you know, as we age, we lose collagen, we lose elasticity, we lose definition, our brows thin out, our lips thin out. So that last part is adding back and defining.
Yeah.
So brows and lips are so important because they frame the face, the top of the face, the bottom of the face. And the lip line and brow line are very similar in that they mimic the colour of brow hair or they mimic the colour of lips. Because most nude lip liners are brown. Yes. They're like a brownie, peachy shade.
I have one on today. Yeah. It's like brownie.
Yeah. And that's because we wear so many peach nude. But when I analysed it, I didn't want to get loads of lip liners to match all the lipsticks that I was wearing. So I worked really hard to try and match it to a lip colour. So I can use that lip liner to line my lips, give it the shape, definition, slightly overline it to really plump it up, and not put anything on top, and people would not know I'm wearing a lip liner.
I mean, I'm guessing you've got it on today and it looks absolutely fabulous if you can look into this
camera.
And
I've got your lipstick on, actually.
Oh, have you? So
on top,
Elle-Sera
which is my
lipstick.
colour.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I don't know how you feel when you're making makeup, but when I'm making something, I'm like, I want this for me. So that's where I start. I'm like, would I use this? Would I genuinely buy it? And if I would, then we make it into a little product.
And that's very much my starting point because I am that customer. Even though I was 15 years in beauty, I am that customer. Would I wear it? Does it? And it needs to be quick, easy. It needs to perform. But also what's interesting about us, and we're different because most makeup brands are a fashion play. It's about colour, fashion, get the look, celebrity. It's about coral on lips. It's, you know, whatever on trend. We're not that. You can't come to us if you want colour. So we're more about using the medium of makeup to help do a little job of what I say, do a job of work, because we need a little bit of help.
I feel like it's a really good, like you could get the whole range and it's your basis number one, like everyday makeup. Now,
exactly.
if you were going to a gala dinner, you might want a bit more outlandish makeup on, and there's plenty of places you can go and get that from, you know.
So that's exactly, I think it was India Knight from the Sunday Times said, you're like Spanx for the face. And I'm like, I really don't want to be the underwear, the bra and knickers of the makeup world. It's hardly glam. And at a time where most women in their 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond, you know, we don't feel that confident. We feel quite invisible. You know, everything around that whole...
I would love Spanx for the face.
I know.
I would wear that with pride.
And then when I thought about it, I thought that's exactly us, because then you can add your colour story. But, you know, you can wear a beautiful, bright coral lipstick. But if you've got no shape and definition to your lips, or that colour's bleeding into fine lines, it's not going to work. So I am the sort of bra and knickers of the makeup world. And then, but it works well. And the other thing that I realized is, as much as, like you say, you're going out, you know, there might be a trend, but most women just want to look beautifully polished. Mm-hmm. They want to be radiant, glowing. They want healthy skin. They want to be polished. And it is that sort of natural, no makeup. That is definitely the Studio 10 aesthetic.
Yeah.
And that's why I use so many creams and liquids, because they sort of blend and meld into each other. Don't like anything that sits on the skin, because then it just looks too blocky, quite like cakey. And
yeah, they scare me sometimes, creams. They really do. But I really like the blusher. And like I said, that's like actually one of my hero products. And let's say it's always a Saturday morning and I always put it on because I've got 3 kids to deal with. Danny's screaming at me to get out of the house and I've not got time to put any makeup on because I've had to get like everybody dressed and sort everybody out. So I just put a brush in my hair.
I always say this. And
then I just put that on.
Yeah, it's brilliant because it just
and a bronzer,
boosts
and then even if I don't even put any mascara on, that is my 2 things, because I look like death if I haven't got concealer, bronzer, and that, and I'm away.
It is a real complexion booster.
Yeah,
for sure. And I always, whenever I say this, I go, you know, how difficult do you need to be a makeup artist, to be a pro, to do your makeup, Studio 10? I'm like, no. And I have this phrase, and my PR manager says, you can't say that as a founder of a makeup brand.
Say it.
You can't say that. And I always say, it's slap and go. That's it. That's what we need. I am always doing my makeup on the train, the back of a taxi, you know, walking down the road.
100%, yeah.
It's just, who has time to sit there? And even if I'm going out in the evening, like you said, that ritual of getting ready, never happened.
Not anymore, it doesn't. I literally used to have I'd be like, okay, I'll start my makeup at 5 o'clock. And he was going out at 8. I'd start my routine, shave my legs. And now it's a joke.
Yeah, five minutes to 8.
Yeah,
and you're like,
sure.
Quick.
Okay, so I think it's a refreshing change. I actually like your approach to makeup and the industry. And one of the things I liked about you, and we've been like chatting, I remember doing a live with you in lockdown. So it must have been like 3 years ago. And it was one of my favourite lives, and I thought it was absolutely great because you're really pro-age, which I'm very pro-age too. So talk to me about your stance on...
Yeah, so the big part of Studio 10 is this pro-age movement, pro-age, not anti-age. And what that means is, like, ageism exists, like for men and for women, but especially for women. And the one word that comes up all the time when I meet women is invisible. I feel invisible.
Do you know what? I've actually switched and think they're now not invisible, they're ignored. Willfully ignored.
But the thing is, they're ignored and it makes them feel invisible.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're invisible, you start to behave, you start to like draw into yourself and then you become invisible, and it's a really horrible cycle. And that's why I really want to take on the beauty industry, because I think it has a lot to answer for. 10 years younger, 20 years younger, anti-wrinkle, anti-aging, anti, saying you are not beautiful, you are not relevant, you are not valuable, you know, unless you are young. And then wonder why so many women in their 40s and 50s feel invisible or feel not as confident, don't feel as relevant, don't feel as valuable. And it's wrong. It's like we need to celebrate our age, wear it loudly, wear it proudly, and not feel those things.
Apologies for interrupting this podcast, but I need to ask a favour. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, then please hit that subscribe button right now. I'll be straight up and honest that I want to see this podcast grow and flourish into something that I'm really proud of. And the only way that I can do that is with your help. So if you've ever learned anything useful from these conversations, then please return the favour by liking, rating, subscribing, and maybe even sharing it with your friends. Thanks very much. Let's get back to the episode.
I was reading a book, and it was the construction of the Karen, because now you've got middle-aged women who are like being dismissed because they're complaining about something which might be a really relevant complaint, but now she's just a Karen, and it's like because they're being ignored.
Yeah,
and
because
it's like,
we've got a voice.
Exactly. But now it's like, every woman who's kind of in the 50s who's got a bit of a slight inconvenience who wants to like make a complaint about it, they're now being ignored. They're now being again, just like society's dismissing them as being a complainer, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. It's like we lose our voice because we're not listened to. Like you say, we're ignored. And like the beauty industry, in terms of ignoring, they didn't have there was a piece of research that came out that said mature women didn't feel products or services catered to them. The other way is, and it is changing in fairness, which I'm grateful for. But, big brands promoting, anti-aging wrinkle cream. And I wrote a big article, had a 25-year-old supermodel in the ad.
I know.
Okay, so you're saying if I buy that anti-wrinkle eye cream, I'm going to look like that 25-year-old supermodel. There's no lotion or potion in the world that's going to take away fine lines and wrinkles to look like a 25-year-old number one. I found it insulting. It's like, do you think I have no intelligence that I'm going to buy into that ad? So we're not even represented in the very ads.
No.
From brands trying to sell to us.
I see this shift actually across loads of ads. Like they used to film mascara with like false eyelashes on, And it's only like now people have gone in and called it out, really. You can't do that anymore. And advertising standards have really got hold of it. They used to film hair adverts with like loads of hair extensions. Like it was ridiculous. Yeah. But now, I mean, I think it was in Sweden I saw the other day. And now on their ads, they have to put, if it's been like photoshopped, which and it was a picture of Johnny Depp in a Savage ad. I was like, well, of course.
Yeah.
It's been done. I actually don't care about that. I actually want it to be done.
Yeah, it's
in a high production shoot, I would expect nothing less.
Yeah. And I think that's okay though, because I was in context of this supermodel. And then there was loads of, I want to see ads with models around my age that I can identify with. I think what's important is it depends on the product. This was an anti-wrinkle cream.
Yeah.
So having a 25-year-old does not wash. And I actually, as I said, I found it really insulting. It's like, do you think just because I might be a little bit menopausal, I've lost all sense and sensibility? But that doesn't mean I don't want to see 25-year-olds, and actually in a beauty product or perfume or fragrance or beautiful bright lipstick, because advertising is a little bit aspirational. You want that. So it's a mix. But for me, it's about credibility.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think it is getting better, definitely getting better. I'm just trying to think who I've seen recently. Andie MacDowell used to do quite a few ads. She's really embraced.
Well, she was talking about Andie MacDowell. It must have been 2 years ago. And this is the whole pro-age stroke anti-age. And this is the thing, that there is a disparity between men and women. So as men age, in terms of their currency and their value, it increases. Gravitas, kudos, silver fox. It's like their value increases.
It does. Ours actually genuinely does increase, because they build more wealth over time.
Yeah, ours decreases. I've got a couple of friends who are actresses and they've really struggled.
Yeah. Because
they're not getting the parts, or they are auditioning for a part, the age that they are, and they're going, oh no, you're too old. What do you mean? But I'm trying to play a 50-year-old. And then it goes to someone who's 35, all that sort of stuff. women's currency sort of devalues over time. And Andie MacDowell, I never forget it. She went to Cannes Film Festival, and she hadn't been seen for a while. I think it was soon after COVID. She walked down the red carpet and she'd gone grey, beautiful curly hair, all grey. I have never seen so many column inches in all of my days. It looks amazing. She's embracing her natural beauty. Oh, it's really aged her. Blah. Thousands, like every article was Andie MacDowell, grey, 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 all this sort of stuff. And I was like, I didn't read when George Clooney went grey.
No.
Did you see it on the front page of any newspaper? No.
I don't know if I'd be as brave as Andie MacDowell. I don't think I could go grey. I think I'll be dyeing my hair for like
do you
eternity.
know what? It's one thing that I get asked a lot, funny enough. If you're really pro-age, does that mean growing old gracefully? Well, I'm going to be growing old disgracefully, but growing old gracefully or naturally. And if you're pro-age, what's your stance on it? And my stance on it is this. There is no right or wrong way to age. You do you. Whatever that is for you, it's right for you, and with no judgment from anybody else. So if you want to go gay, go grey. If you want to do Botox, you want to have a facelift, whatever it is. And it is interesting because there's so much judgment around, and there is an amazing Silver Sister grey movement, which I'm so excited about because it means, for women, and a really good girlfriend of mine, we're the same age, she's now completely grey. She got her hair cut into this short, really architectural bob. She's completely grey. She looks phenomenal. It has changed. She walks tall. She's owning it. She's got this big, massive, boost of confidence. It's transformed her, and it's so beautiful to see. Me, on the other hand, my mum was still dyeing her hair into her early 80s. So it's right for her, but it's not right for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's okay. And there are different movements, but, I don't want to be grey at this point in time.
No, same here. I think if you suit it and you can rock it and you look really great, like any hair colour, if you want to go pink, blue, whatever, or keep it natural, great. Whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you stand on plastic surgery, fillers, Botox,
Again,
things like that?
I think it's a personal choice. I really do. I don't think there's any right or wrong. I did, really interestingly, because I'd never had anything done. And I met this amazing doctor in Harley Street. And I said, you know what? I want to do this. I want to come in and have everything done, and I want to write about it, right? So, and she was absolutely brilliant. So she gave me some Botox here, a little bit round here. And they're the areas that I feel, it makes me feel tired. I don't want to look tired. Even here, she put a little bit of filler. She really went to town. She put a tiny little bit in my lips, which I've never had done. I said, but you've got to do all of it. Everything that you see, just do it, but very, very naturally. And I've got a slight bend in my nose, which I've always had. Nobody really notices, but I notice. And she said, well, we can fill it. You can put a tiny little bit of filler there and it make it a little bit wider, but it balances it out, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, just go for it. Because I want to write about it. And interestingly, nobody noticed any difference, but I really, really noticed. I've just felt so much fresher. It was my nose, all of it. I wrote an article about it because that was the point. And I said, I would be lying if I didn't say I loved it. I loved it. And then I just think, well, that's okay. That's okay. If you want to have Botox, you want to have filler, it doesn't matter. There is no right or wrong. And I'm quite passionate about that.
No, I agree.
But I don't like the judgment that comes with so much of that. So, oh, well, she's had Botox, so it's not on.
People get a brace. How is it any different?
Yeah,
I feel like, if you want to straighten your teeth, nobody goes, oh, you've got a brace on. How is it any different? Say I wanted to get a nose job or whatever. Like, well, how is it any different? If you want something fixed, you want it fixed. regardless of what it is. But I don't know, it's seen as like so vain, isn't it? But I wear it. I know I'm vain.
I think, and is it vain or is it just self-care? You know, the thing is we live in an ageless society for women. So there is pressure. Once again, there was this article in the Daily Telegraph a couple of years ago, and it was saying lots of women in the workplace in their late 40s, early 50s, mid 50s are having treatments because they want to be ageless. And this article is that you couldn't tell whether they were 45, 50 or 55, because if they were 55 and, you know, I'm 58 in the workplace, you feel it.
I would have never said you were 58.
But there is a difference. If I'm, you know, it's just, we live in an ageist society. So if you want to look your best, put your best face forward, what is wrong with that?
No,
it's self-care, isn't it?
Absolutely. I completely agree. It's personal choice, personal preference. And I have, everyone's horrified at this, but I started Botox at 25. That was my present off my mum for my 25th birthday. I said, that is what I want. And twice a year, every year, I've had it done since I'm 38 now. So I started.
Because they say,
25.
don't they, as well? They say if you do it young, it's almost sort of preventative.
Well, I still haven't got a wrinkle yet on my face, really, and I'm like very on top of.
But it looks really natural on you. That's the only caveat I'll say. You know, 100%. When you went through, I don't know, was it 10 years ago? It was, you know, and you get these A-list, you know, celebrities. Yeah, oh no, I've not had anything done. You're like, okay, it's so obvious. So for me, that if you're going to have it done, own it. But then at the same time, I understand why people don't want to own it, because there's so much judgment and around it. So it's like, give them a break. Let people do what they want to do, right?
Yeah.
But there was a trend where it went too far. And I think when it sort of doesn't look, because the whole point, it's a tweakment. It's naturally enhancing
your natural beauty. You're not trying to disfigure. Like if somebody's got really small lips and to balance their face, they need to add a little bit of lip filler.
Yeah, great.
I'm 100% behind that.
Me too.
If you are going to go hyperinflate them to a point where it looks ridiculous, well, you are going to look ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I totally believe in it. If you've got and it's going to look better if you had a tiny bit of filler, then I'm all for it.
Yeah. And I feel that about, you know, plastic surgery or anything. I think as long as I think you do it for you.
To improve your quality of life.
For you, not for anybody else. I think when we get caught up in, and as women, it's much harder, isn't it? Because it's one thing actually that's come with age. It's like, I don't really care what people think of me now. Whereas, you know, when I was much younger, like I wanted to be liked all the time. I wanted to be seen like this. It takes so much energy. And then, you know, you sort of mature into it. And the reality is not everybody's going to like you all of the time, or they might not agree with you, and that's okay. That's okay. So I think as long as you do it for you, because it's important to you, not to get that approval from the outside world. But it's hard. It's really hard for women.
I have a friend who has just split up with her husband, and first thing I said, just promise me, because she's already very this way inclined anyway. She's very surgery led. So just promise me through this, you're not going to have any more surgery because you really don't need it. And she's texted me last week. She had another facelift. This is her third facelift. She's 42 years old. And I was like, but she's definitely got some kind of like, you know, now her self-esteem relies on what other people think of her, which is an issue. Yeah.
And that's the checks and the balances, isn't it? You know, do it for you. But when you're doing it to fill an insecurity or then it's not the answer, is it?
No, it's not. It's absolutely not the answer. It's not because she's looking at the wrong problem. I've always said this, but hey ho.
And she can't see it, can she?
No, she can't. And I'm like, I look at her from 10 years ago. I was like, look at you, you're beautiful. But anyway, it's just falling on
But
deaf
that's
ears.
the thing, isn't it? Look at you, you're beautiful. I always think this about the beauty industry's preyed on that, hasn't it? Just wanting us to be so perfect. Surgeons, but even fashion, music. Yeah. You know, it's all glossy, glossy, glossy. And we want to be like that. We want to look like that. And if we don't, then it makes us, it eats away at our confidence and our self-worth and our self-esteem.
Yeah.
So that confidence, I really believe, comes from inside.
Yeah.
And then you're not rocking it, but then you're making these choices out of independence, not because it's feeding this insecurity.
No, you're
and there's
not
a
wrong.
massive difference.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's never enough, is it?
No.
The house is never big enough. The
No.
car's not fast enough. The designer, it just...
Yeah, your handbag's not expensive enough. And it's just like...
You can't win that battle.
No, you're
You
not
can't
wrong.
win that battle.
You're not wrong. Yeah, what's next for Studio 10? I know you've got some great stuff coming up. Are you expanding the line? Are you doing more products? I know you've significantly grown in the last, I'd say, 6 months?
Do you know what? Since COVID, I think COVID was a moment for us because everybody's online.
I know.
So suddenly,
and
then that's when we just
and everyone had money.
blew up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, it was interesting because you think makeup would be like sales and makeup would drop because you're not going out, put a little bit on doing Zooms. And actually we blew out. And I'm a really, really, because women don't think twice about putting their skincare on every morning and brushing their teeth. They're like, oh no, I need to put makeup on when I go out. And I'm like, but makeup we see ourselves as an extension to your skincare regime, right? So if you wake up in the morning and you're exhausted and guess what? You look in the mirror and you're so tired. If you put a tiny little bit of makeup, it's transformational. And if you look good on the outside, it makes you feel better on the inside. And there's loads of research. So I'm like, wear makeup every day. It's just part of that self-care routine. Put your best face forward. So we blew out during COVID. So now where we are is we're growing really quickly and we're expanding. So now it's about international, it's about the US. And in terms of products, it's tricky for us because it's a bit like you, it's like, this is the core product. These are your daily building blocks. These are the only essentials you need. There's everything in this formula. It's very hard then to bring in another product. If you said these are core essentials,
I get that, but I definitely think.
But there is still room.
Yeah,
so
loads of room,
one product. So when we do launch products, really considered. So we launched a skincare SPF, and it's got actives in it. It's hydropeptide 2. It's got really high doses of hyaluronic acid. It's got, SPF, it's got astaxanthin, which is an antioxidant, 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C. It's an amazing everyday skincare SPF. And then right at the very end, I've added some aluminium starch. So it absorbs any excess oil. So if you want to put your makeup on straight away, it just sits beautifully. That's a new product, but it has to be justified. I can't just bring out, here's another, these are the most flattering, beautiful lipstick shades, and I've got 4. I then can't add another 3 just because.
I think you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. And you could have a different version of, so say like your brow pencil, you can bring out a brow like gel.
Yeah, I have been looking at gels, funnily enough.
I've actually switched from pencil to gel, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It does make a real, I don't know, I still love pencil, especially for everyday stuff, and definitely for drawing in like my line or whatever. But I really like the gel.
Yeah, I've been looking at gels. So I have got some products lined up, but they're considered, if that makes sense. And they have to be a sort of everyday must-have essential.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's good.
Well, it's exciting, and I've loved to see your journey. Can't wait to see what you're doing. Definitely, you're a lady that I like to stick close to. I'm sure our listeners are going to love it. I'm sure our listeners are customers of yours anyway.
And vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much for coming in to talk to me today,
pleasure.
Grace.
Really enjoyed it.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.